Today, I'm talking about two very important immigration law updates. The first one I'm going to be talking about is the new government's pledge that the family income requirement for somebody's spouse visa is not going to go beyond £29,000 at this stage. If you remember, the previous government had said that they would incrementally increase this to 38,700 to bring it in line with the skilled worker categories as well. But that is not what this government has decided. So we'll be talking about that. And the second category, or the second update, important update that I want to speak to you about is the e-visas, because a lot of people are asking questions about that. And I've been told that apparently there is a deadline of the 10th of August that people are saying you have to submit an application before the 10th of August. Otherwise, there is £1,000 fine. I don't know where they're getting that. I don't know where that is coming from. I go to gov.uk, I check over there, and the last update there is still from back in March or May or something like that, and there is nothing further. So I will talk about both of these things very shortly. So let's start with the first one. What is the government's pledge and how to go about it? Now, the new Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, she has announced that the previous government's tackling of immigration and the tackling of illegal immigration or even legal immigration is going to be followed through. So the previous government said that the skilled workers will have to meet a minimum threshold of £38,700 a year. They also said that the care workers will not be allowed to bring their dependents with them. Some students will not be able to bring their dependents. All that remains in place. One thing that has changed, and which is a very welcome change, is about your family or spouse visas. Now, if a person who is a British national or is an ILR holder wishes to bring their spouse from a different country, right now the rules say that they need to have an earning of at least £29,000 to be able to bring their spouse. Now, the previous government's pledge was that 29,000 was the first increment from 18,600, which used to be the case before. And then after 29,000, they'll go up to 34,500 towards the end of this year. And then next year, before April or May, they would move on to 38,700. Now, this government has announced that that is not going to happen. The £29,000 has been frozen at £29,000. Now, the reason why they're saying that is more of a common sense approach. 18,600 that was set up back in 2012 was based on the fact that if a person is on benefits, what would they be earning in order not to qualify for benefits? And that was the 18,600 threshold that they had. Now, the previous government decided that we are going to take it up to 38,700 when the mean average or the mean income in UK of anybody is not greater than 35,000 pounds. So they had taken it to a different level altogether. Now, what we are now looking at is that the 29,000 increment that has already been put in place, and that is the current law, will remain the current law. And MAC has been, MAC is the Migration Advice Committee or whatever it is, but this is the committee, or this is the organization that is going to advise the government on what happens with migration. So what they need to do now, or what they've been tasked with, is that they need to look at what amount would be the correct amount. And I would expect this to be less than £29,000, because if we go by the same reasoning that was adopted earlier or initially in 2012, the whole idea was what would make you qualify for benefits or not make you qualify for benefits, and that is the amount that they would be looking at. So I would expect that to be less than £29,000. Now what we're looking at is, at this stage, that £29,000 is now going to be the requirement. And when you're going to prove that income, you can then continue along those lines and you don't have to go to the 38,700. Now, the skilled workers and all those other things, they will continue as they were announced, and that is something that needs to be done. Now comes the second part of this video, which is the e-visa requirements. What is happening with the e-visa requirement? I'm so sorry, the phone keeps ringing. What is happening with the e-visa requirement is that people were expecting an email from the Home Office, and I had done that in my previous video as well. You will be getting an email from the Home Office saying that you are now ready to create your eVisa account so that the Home Office can attach your BRP number along with your visa requirements. Now, first of all, let's understand, eVisa is not a new visa. An e-visa is simply a record of your immigration status maintained by the Home Office. So when you go and create an online account with the UK VI websites, that is what's going to happen, that your e-visa is simply a record of your immigration status that is going to be available in that account. Now, I promise you, this is not a very complicated thing to do. You can do it yourself, even if you've not been sent an email from the Home Office, because this is something that we've been thinking right from the beginning. When they announced that you will receive an email from the Home Office, and once you receive that email, then you can go and create an account. And once you've created that account, the Home Office will make your immigration status available to that account. It just seemed like, from experience, it seemed it's not going to be very workable, and that is exactly what's happening. A lot of applications in the UK are done through lawyers. So, for example, when we submit an application for our clients, it is our email address that is being used on that application. Now, that application, but once it's been submitted, once they've been granted their status, it's our email address that remains there. So we have been getting, as lawyers, we have been getting emails for various people, but we don't know who this is for because the emails don't give you a name. They simply arrive at, for example, info@bukharichambers.com. We will simply get an email saying you can now apply for your e-visa. Who is it for? There is no reference number. There is nothing. So they have said, because we've made inquiries, so they have said that they will let lawyers know how to create those at a later stage. But at this stage, what has started happening, which was expected, is that you can actually go, even if you've not been given an email yet or not been sent an email, you can actually go and create the e-visa account yourself. Now, if you're able to do that, of course, what it requires is for you to be smart enough to be able to scan documents, to be able to create a login, to be able to check your emails for security purposes, and then go and verify that on your account. Now, some people are just very basic. They don't do that. I got a call from an uncle today who said, "Son, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how these things work. I don't know how these online things work. So get this done for me." So I had to go through the process with him and get it set up for him. It took a little time, but still had to do it for him. So it was done. And finally, when he saw his e-visa thing, he was very happy with that. So what I'm saying is, if you have not been sent an email from the Home Office, can still go to gov.uk and or search eVisa UK, and then you will be able to go to the link. You can start the application yourself. You can do the application yourself. In case you're not able to do the application, we are there to help you. We will charge a certain amount. Obviously, we have to something if you're doing something. I think we've basically put it at £125 per application. So if you would like us to do that, we can of course do that for you, but you can do it yourself as well. Only if you can't and you need our help, of course, you can contact us and my team would be happy to do that for you. Now, the only other thing I want to again explain is that this is not a new visa that you're applying. This is your existing immigration status that the Home Office will then connect to this account where you can check online what it is that your visa status is. And of course, the share codes and working and this and that, all that will be available from there. I hope that helps. And please, if you do know somebody who has been told that there is a deadline or you'll be fined a £1,000 fine or something like that, and 10th August is the last day, please do let me know and educate me as well. Otherwise, I have not seen anything like that. And I don't think that there is an August deadline because your BRP cards are still valid till the 31st of December 2024. Thank you very much for listening as always.